Welcome to Envision Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success presents The Momentum Shift. A show where we get inspired, we get moving, and we get results. Every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with your host, Eric Collier. He's the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, bringing you inspiring interviews and empowering stories that will help to improve lives. If you're ready to start making the impossible possible, then you've joined the right show, because the Momentum Shift is what you've been looking for.
Welcome to the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, where every week we're empowering you to break free from your limitations so that you can unlock your true potential and shift your life into a new reality. Hello, I'm C. Eric Collier, and I'm also known as the Mayor of Motivation. I'm your host, and I'm excited to have with us today the dynamic Emmy Award-winning TV host, best-selling author, and marketing executive, Miss Markette Sheppard, whose impact goes far beyond the screen. Markette's career spans from morning to national TV, where she's consistently pushed boundaries to achieve high levels of success. Now, she's dedicated her life to illuminating the path for others, helping them shine in their own light so that they can make an impact on this world. Today, Markette's going to share with you her story and how she's been able to create momentum shifts throughout her life to overcome things like self-doubt so that she could achieve the impossible. She's also going to reveal how she's navigated the intersection of journalism, entrepreneurship, social impact, and motherhood. In addition, she's going to show you how you can apply these things to your life so that you can shift momentum in your life to a new reality. So get ready, because the momentum shift is what you're waiting for. And it starts today with Markette Sheppard.
I'm all about having like a organized home life and, wake up early. I'm not a night owl. I can get up. I love being a morning show host. Yeah. My call time was 7 a.m. in the morning, which means I was up at 5 at work, or, 6:50 or so, and leaving at 3. And I love that life. I was never caught in traffic. I got up with the birds and the roosters.
Hey, Momentum Shift podcast and radio show listeners, this is your host, C. Eric Collier, and I've got something for you. I want to share this game-changing streaming service with you. Go to LRODTVnetwork.com. That's LRODTVnetwork.com. It's a minority-owned streaming channel that's got it all. Exclusive talk shows, podcasts, and live streams you won't find anywhere else. And the best part, it's affordable. Just $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year. But as a special thank you to my amazing listeners, use the code SHIFT at sign up to get 25% off until August the 1st, 2024. And now it's only $4.50 for your first month or $45 for your first year. And guess what else they're giving you? They're giving you a 7-day free trial to try it out. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. Head over to LRODTVnetwork.com. That's LRODTVnetwork.com and sign up now. Trust me, your entertainment routine will thank you. Are you still here? Hey, go to LRODTVnetwork.com and get signed up right now. Welcome to the Momentum Shift, a show where we get inspired, get moving, and get results. My name is Eric Collier. I'm a veteran of the United States Army and Navy. I'm a 2-time Amazon International best-selling co-author, and I'm an entrepreneur. And I love helping people, and I love coaching people. And I've done that successfully for over 20 years because I really want to see people win. And there is no greater feeling of joy than to witness someone who has just experienced that aha moment go on and change their lives and start doing what they thought was impossible and turning it into what is possible for them. So my goal, my mission each week is to simply do this: help improve lives. That's all I want to do. Help you improve your life, because you deserve to live in the greatness that is you. Now, every Friday, I want you to be ready. I want you to be ready for either an interview of these incredible people, a solo episode with myself,
or maybe a remix of multiple interviews of these incredible, inspiring people. Begin. The goal is simply to help improve lives, and we're going to leave you with some nuggets for success. It's going to help you create that momentum shift that's going to really change your life. But don't stop there. I want you to go over to Apple Podcasts. I want you to subscribe, and I want you to leave feedback, because that feedback, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to help to improve the show in the future, because I really want to give you what you need to get that momentum shift in your life so that you can get going with making that impossible possible for you. So I'm really grateful to have you join me. I'm looking forward to having your feedback and helping to improve the show. And the one thing I'm really grateful about is I get to hear your stories of how you created that momentum shift that changed your life. So get ready, because the momentum shift is what you've been waiting for. I had an opportunity to meet you, and I want to welcome you to the show. So thank you, Markette, for giving me the opportunity to have you join the listeners today.
Well, thank you for having me, Eric. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so excited to be on your platform.
Thank you again. Like I said, I get a little winded. I get a little long-winded, and I want to tell so much, because I think it is great. When you talk about momentum shifting, you get to a point in your life where there's an aha moment that says something's got to change. And many people don't do that. But when I bring on the guests that I bring on, I want people to realize is that if you do shift momentum, great things can happen.
Absolutely. It's all about positioning yourself in the best possibility, so that when the opportunity presents itself to get you closer to your goal, you are looking like the shiny object in the room.
Right.
And true is also for the opposite of that. If you feel like you're not positioned well in an environment to get you towards your goal, let that go and present yourself in a new environment. And that's pretty much the story of my life. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, but my parents are from Youngstown, Ohio. And before I was born, my dad worked in the steel mills. My mom went to Youngstown State, and they could see around them that the opportunity was going to be either, working in the school system or working in the steel mills. And my dad headed west for more opportunities. And I'm so thankful for that, because I grew up in the city of Los Angeles, which is full of possibilities.
Yes.
And always wanting to be in the media, always wanting to be a television host or a reporter, but having like a blue collar working dad, and then a mother who's a teacher, having no contacts in the industry at all. That is very difficult to do, especially since media and TV is all about relationships and contacts and knowing somebody in the business. Right. I had to, from a very young age, shift the momentum, because it's like, okay, if I want to, be a blue collar worker, I have family who could teach me that way of life.
Right.
If I wanted to be a teacher, I have family to teach me that way of life. But I wanted to be TV host and moderator and journalist and writer, and there was just no one around. And it was all about positioning myself, learning as much as I could, meeting the right people, getting mentorship whenever I could, and moving around the country a bit. Not a lot, but a bit.
Yeah. And I think that's huge, because you're willing to take that leap of faith and leave the place where you grew up to go to somewhere else that you know no one, and you're going to take your shot. I like that. Got to be scary, right?
Well, for me, I'm a risk taker. I'm a natural born adventure seeker. So I really had no problem moving around the country.
Gotcha.
So, I knew Los Angeles is one of the biggest media markets in the country. It's actually only second to New York City. And so I knew I had to, leave LA to try to get a shot in a different market. I just happened to get an opportunity to move to DC on a 2-month fellowship. And within a year, I was working at BET.com. And that was strictly through just like meeting people, going to networking events, going to happy hours, letting people know on my 2-month fellowship what my goals were, and them, pointing me in the directions. But it was all so much fun. It was all such an adventure.
Right.
When I look at people who only lived in one town or one city their entire life, I think, oh, how could you do that? Don't you get bored? There's nothing wrong with it. But my personality is to want to go out and explore the world.
Right.
When I was a junior in college, I decided I was going to study abroad, and France was going to be the place. And I didn't speak a lick of French at all. Okay. And my mother said to me, what are you going to do if you get lost or you feel like you're in trouble? I said, well, I'll just catch the train to England, and they speak English there. And she was like, okay. And, luckily there was no one holding me back. And so, I ended up spending 9 months in France. And by the end, I went not really knowing anything about the language or the culture, and came back thinking in French. It took me a while to kind of get all my thoughts back in English.
Gotcha.
And then moved to DC, which has been a 20-year journey, but I've traveled up and down the East Coast for opportunities. And so I think part of a momentum shift is starting between your ears, with your thoughts, and not necessarily being reckless, but not letting fear hold you back from what you want to do. And as I get older, I'm just more strategic in what I want to do. When you're young and you're unattached, you can just move to France for half a year or move across country. And now it's about not being fearful, but also having a strategy behind that. Okay.
And I like that, because you talk about what momentum shifting means to you and how you've used it throughout your life. What's the talk, right? When you talk about getting into your head, because I call it getting stuck in mental quicksand. What's the conversation you have when you realize, man, this needs to change. Something needs to go. I'm not ready to stay here any longer. I gotta go. What's the
Okay, well, I'll give you a perfect example. I was hosting a television show on the CBS affiliate in Washington, D.C. for 4 years. Okay. And like the beginning of the 3rd year, I was looking around, I was like, oh, like I'm not growing. I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It's getting to be a little repetitive. Love the job, exciting job, wonderful people, but I could see myself getting into a rut, and the producers hadn't quite figured out a winning formula. So we were always under pressure to deliver the ratings, deliver the lines perfectly, deliver the advertising. I mean, it was a stressful environment, although it was probably one of my most fun jobs. So I decided I was going to get into children's book writing, because talking to adults was just too hard. Like, even though I'm talking to adults right now, one thing that I figured out is that adults pretty much have their minds made up when it comes to the big issues, politics, religion, anything that's controversial. Most people have their minds made up by the time they get well into their adulthood. And my thing is, like, I love to inspire people and motivate them. One of my good friends and colleagues told me, Markette, you sell happy. If I were to sell an emotion, it would be happy. When I go out and speak to people, and when I do book talks or appearances, I like to leave people feeling better than when I found them, and I like to put out goodness. Gotcha. In my public appearances. And so I said, I think I'm going to start writing for children. I'm going to start storytelling for children. If I can write a script for TV, I can write a children's book. So on the set of my show, in between commercial breaks, and we used to always shoot holiday shows, and it would take forever to shoot a 1-hour holiday show. Sometimes it would take like 2 and 3 hours. We would have these long breaks. And I would, some people would eat, some people would get on TikTok or social media, and I would write stories. I would write drafts of what would become my children's books.
Okay.
And then when I felt like, I got the manuscripts as good as I could get them, I would run across the street to the post office and start mailing submissions to publishers.
Wow.
With the mindset, it's not a matter of if I'm going to get a publishing deal, it's a matter of when.
I like it.
When will I get this? And again, no contacts in the publishing industry, but I knew, because from what I did in television, right? Going the extra mile, hosting shows that nobody else wanted to host, starting in community TV, but taking community TV very seriously, because I knew that I had a plan to use that as a stepping stone.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, if I can, get on CBS in a city like Washington, D.C., which has an audience of 6 to 7 million people, is one of the top 10 TV markets in the United States, then I can get a publishing deal using that same mindset of, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
And you just have to go to the places that people aren't really looking at, or you raise your hand and do the assignment that not everybody's trying to do. And
Right.
then that you carve out a little place for yourself in the industry.
I like it, because there's a quote that I like, is that if you set yourself on fire, people will come to watch, right? From far away to come and watch, right? And not so much setting yourself in flames, but the actions that you take, the things that you do, getting involved with what you, the passion behind you, and really doing those things. And that's what it sounds like you did a lot of. When you said everybody was breaking for lunch, hanging out, doing whatever, you were focused on the books, writing your manuscripts, getting them ready. Talk to me a little bit about how people should really go about managing their time. Is there like a routine that you have for those moments now?
Well, one thing that I do is I take care of myself. I get a lot of good sleep.
Okay.
I went to the gym today. The goal was, I have to be honest, the goal was like 3 hours in the
Okay.
gym.
All
But
right.
I did like 90 minutes. So
Gotcha.
it's like, being physically strong kind of
Right.
reinforces your mental astuteness. Like,
Right.
when you feel good, you look good, you do
Right.
good,
Right.
right?
Gotcha.
So it's a joke that I always have this goal that I'm gonna spend 3 hours in the gym.
Yeah.
But I get 90, so I get
Yeah.
60 minutes out of it, and then I feel strong, and then I
Mm.
sit down at my laptop and I work. You know what I mean? But
Clear your mind.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm a very organized person, so
Yeah.
I'm all about having like a organized home life, and wake up early. I'm not a
Yeah.
night owl. I can
Okay.
get up. I love being a morning show host.
Yeah.
My call time was 7 a.m. in the morning, which means I was up at 5 at work, or 6:50 or so, and
Right.
leaving at 3. And I love that life. I was never
Yeah.
caught in traffic. I got up with the birds and
Man,
the
in
roosters or
DC,
whatever.
you can get caught in traffic at any hour, it
Easily.
seems
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. But so in my previous morning show, I was in Richmond, Virginia. It was also a morning show, and I would get up really early. We shot like 3 to 5 episodes over 2 days.
Okay.
So I would drive to Richmond, and hey, not many people would drive to Richmond from DC 2
Right.
days a week for a show.
Oh
All
yeah.
I saw was opportunity with that. And that
like it.
opportunity led me to befriending a sales executive at that station who moved to DC, got the job at 9, and called me out of the blue one day and said, Markette, we're starting a morning show, and I showed everybody your YouTube channel, and you need to get in here. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? She's like, you need to get in here right now. I showed them your YouTube, and they love you.
Yeah.
And within 48 hours, I was meeting with the president and general manager of the CBS station in Washington, D.C. He took one look at me. It was almost like a joke, because I didn't even like do like my full makeup. I didn't do like my full best outfit. I
Right.
kind of just went in there. I just had a baby. So I was like 40 pounds overweight.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't feeling my best. So I said, let me go check this out. Like it wasn't a great opportunity.
Let's see what she's talking about.
Yeah, let me see what he's talking about. Out of sorts. I would just say that because
Right.
I had a baby like less than, I don't know, 6 months.
Okay.
And he said he just took one look at me and he was like, I like you. I like you. You look like women at home watching TV. And it was so funny. I did.
That's cool.
And so there's something to also not trying too hard or try hard, but be cool. You know what I mean? And you have something to offer. I tell this to children when I speak to them. My first children's book, which was #1 on Amazon, when it came out, it's called What is Light? And it's all about the light that you have inside of you, but also all of the light around you in this universe. The sun shines a light upon you. Your soul, your passion emits a light onto other people. And so, I think what was so perfect, and I didn't even really understand it at the time, is that, I was kind of thinking, can I do this job with a baby? Can I, get a haircut? Like I was thinking, like, what can this job do for me to fit
Because you
into my
value
new
something
life?
different now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all about what could I give to them. And I think there was something attractive about knowing that you have something to offer a business partner, a platform, that X factor that you have as an individual, Eric, and your listeners have, that's your light and it's valuable, right?
Right.
So it's not so much go after it as if they have everything to give and you have everything to gain. Okay. They have something to give, you have something to give. And with really great alignment and great matchups, it's a give relationship.
Yeah. I think it's good. I like, so when you're talking about relationship building, I like it because, I truly believe that we're all connecting a puzzle, but it starts with us understanding that self-awareness piece, right? And now from there, we can move out and start connecting with those who we can connect, who we can help, who we can work together to help others. And so you're a big connector, am I right?
I love connecting people. If I'm like, oh, someone who needs this, well, I know this person. I get a high from like connecting people.
Yeah.
And I like to be connected too.
Yeah.
So, it's always good to give anyway.
I think it's important to understand the value of that, right? Because it's not all about me, and what I can get out of it. Is how I can help, the value that I add to it. And so I think that that's huge because I think, we miss that sometimes. It's not all a solo act.
No, nothing can be done by yourself. You need community, and me just being on the East Coast, I moved to Washington, D.C. in 2002, the summer of 2002. So this will be my 22nd year, on the East Coast. I really had no one. I had some distant relatives, in the suburbs of Maryland. I had an aunt and uncle and some distant cousins in New York City who, it's just like, you meet them, they give you a hot meal like we do in our community, and they send you on your way.
Yeah. It's great meeting you, girl. Child, you look like your mom.
Exactly. Okay, see you later. Don't ask for too much, it's like, so everything I built everything I built in Washington, D.C., I've built that through the community of friends and family that I've kind of crafted along the way, and who I'm so thankful for. I can say I have about 5 people who I'm very close to, friends who are like family, who have been a common thread in my journey, and my success is shared with the people who know me, who believe in me, who laugh with me, who cry with me, and who they may not see my vision, but they're like, all right, let's see what she does. She never lets us down. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I think that's cool. And that's it, right? Do what you love to do, regardless of what everybody else thinks. and just keep moving forward, right? In your own light, right? So
In your own
let's
life.
speaking of on your light, in your light, that was like it's okay. It's okay lead in, right? So let's talk about your books, because I think that's huge. When I first heard you talk about moving into your author, writing and creating your own company, it was at the time when you were doing something you loved to do, which was on being on TV. And so now you write your books. What what are those stories that you so Ninja Nate was the latest, correct?
Yes, yes.
So what's the story behind Ninja Nate, and who is Ninja Nate?
Okay, well, one thing I'll say is like writing children's books is kind of a delight for me, and it's a surprise career trajectory.
Yeah.
With journalism, I grew up always wanting to be a journalist, always wanting to be on television in some way, and
Yeah.
just laser focused on that. I had never thought I'm going to write books, but after I had my son, and I just was so happy, and I had
Yeah.
an outpouring of like love and affection and all the warm and fuzzy feels that you get when you have a new baby. And I thought, I want to share this. So my children's book journey was really an outpouring of love.
Okay.
And it started out with an idea of, ooh, I just want to write in a little book everything I know to be like a universal truth in life. And then when my son gets older, he can read it. If I'm not around, if he's away somewhere, he can look through the book. He can look up, like happiness, hurt, sadness, and like it'll be okay. Like I just want to put my momness in a book. And so I don't know where that thing is, but I started writing little notes, and then I'm like, no, I can write a little children's book. So with every book that I've written, it's graduated from like what is light, which is telling children you have a light inside of you. My Rainy Day Rocket Ship is all about creative play and telling children you don't need anything else but your imagination to have fun, and to be happy. And then Ninja Nate is a little story about self-acceptance, right? So Ninja Nate is almost in the 5th grade. Yeah, he has an older brother, and he has friends on the playground, but something happens in his life where he suffers a tragic accident that alters his appearance.
Okay.
I don't want to give the book away. I want to encourage you and all your listeners.
Yes, go to Amazon and pick that up.
I get it, but something happens where he's changed forever, and he tries to hide it by wearing his ninja costume. So he has to decide at the end of the summer, anything goes as far as clothes in my household in the summer. I'm like, I'll wear what you want, it's summer.
Right.
So Ninja Nate decides, his household is like mine, he wants to wear his ninja costume all summer. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, playground, what have you. But when school comes back, he has to take his costume off and deal with the reality, which is people are going to see a physical difference in him. And, will they accept him as the Nathaniel Brown who left school in the 4th grade, or will they accept him as Ninja Nate? So it's a little bit of, it's grown up for a 10-year-old because we're dealing with real life. But that's the age where I think kids really start to see things and things start clicking,
Right. And I think it's important, right? Because even though it's for the kids, it relates to adults as well. We go through things, right? You talk about you had just had the baby, and you showed up at a news interview where that's important how you look. And you're like, hey, I'm here. I'm Mom Markette.
Yeah, I was kind of like, take it or leave it. I gotta go get this baby in an hour. That like I was not trying to stay in that interview, and it was actually the biggest interview of my life so far. And I was like, I'm on a time crunch.
Right. But it's adults, we go through those things as well, and I think it's important to realize that you start shaping that at a young age, wow, how powerful can that be as you become an adult to be able to, hey, you know what? I've learned this since I was older, younger. Adapt, adjust, and keep it moving. We get so caught on what other people think of us, and we forget it's about what we think of us is important.
Adapt, adjust, and keep it moving. I love that. That is truly a powerful lesson that, I mean, you can learn it young or as an adult. It's so much better to learn things younger. And I find I'm always relearning some lessons, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all about, like, empowering people from the inside out. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna bring your happiness to other people, and together you will be happy. But you cannot be an unhappy person and then come to a happy person and expect to, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
get
Oh,
some of
yeah.
the happy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You may alleviate your unhappiness
Right.
for a while, but no, you gotta come with some tools in your toolbox. And
Yeah.
that's what I try to teach children. And Ninja Nate ultimately decides to,
Right.
go ahead and try out,
Yeah.
his authentic self.
And that's the key, right? Being authentic, be who you are. People will figure out you're phony eventually. Just be who you are. God made you in the way that you are simply because he knows this is the way you're supposed to be, right? You're right. Does that make sense? He made you perfectly the way that you are. If I say that right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, I don't know why I didn't want to be a dentist. That seems like a perfectly stable, well-paid, noble
Yeah.
career. But
Yeah.
something that, drives me is storytelling. And
Yeah.
that is I just accepted it. But it's a completely unreasonable path.
Right.
But
So,
but here I am
yeah.
listening to my heart's desire.
So talk to me about GlowStream and
Yes.
how you help adults. Do you help with adults to learn how to write stories as well?
Well, I do a lot of consulting with Glowstream TV. So how I started Glowstream TV was after working in TV stations up and down the East Coast. I worked in New York for AMC Movies as a movie news correspondent. I appeared on the Today Show as a lifestyle journalist.
Hmm.
Told you I was in Richmond, all over DC. I worked in radio at the NPR station. And I was always inputting into somebody's, framework of
Gotcha.
a digital channel, So when I started in journalism, you had no choice but to be a digital multimedia journalist. So whether you're on TV, on radio, or anything else,
Uh-huh.
streaming, you still contribute to the website. And a
Okay.
lot of the stories I was writing, they were like hitting the #1 and #2 story, most read stories of the day
Right.
at a lot of the stations. So, a part of my leadership journey was I wanted to grow as a leader,
Mm.
but a lot of times as a television host and journalist, if you do a good job with a story, win an Emmy, they're like, congratulations, keep doing that. Just
Right.
keep doing it. And I'm like, well, no, I think I want to, like, create a podcast. I want to hire people. I want to
Right.
learn how the budget works. Like,
Yeah.
why am I getting no's when I want to spend money this way? Or, you
Right.
know what I mean? And it was just like no opportunity to lead and grow as a leader and understand how the business works.
Yeah. People want to
So,
keep you in that pigeonhole you, right? They-
exactly.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's interested in media, I'd say the most powerful position in media is the corner office, is being a general manager or even a sales executive. All of the positions that are behind the camera are so powerful, and you learn how the business works. A lot of general sales managers go on to own TV stations, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I just want to learn how the business works.
Right.
So I took some classes and I launched Glowstream TV just like a few months after I left my last TV job. And I had all of the elements of, I know how to put together a good website. I know how to, put together a podcast because I put together TV shows for so many years. So Glowstream TV is just a delight in that it's an expression of what I want to write about, what I want to talk about. I took some friends from previous, media jobs to become contributors, so they write for Glowstream. And I have an assistant, Norma, who is in recovery, and she's been with me 3 years. She's like one of the best people I've ever hired.
Yeah.
So she does marketing and digital media promotions, but she also has a recovery blog that's pretty darn good and pretty interesting. She's been writing it for 3 years.
Okay.
And it's an integrated marketing site. So if you are an author, Eric, your listeners are authors who want to promote their books, their products, their services, and they've never been in media before, it's really hard to break in. You can't be a brand new author, especially if you're self-published, and land on MSNBC or CNBC. It's darn near impossible unless you have like a really, really inside track contact. So what I'll do is I'll take people, interview them about their book and their goals and what they want to get out of a media interview. And not only will I coach them and give them some tips, I'll do a podcast episode with them. I will do a digital web story of their book or their product or their service, and then I'll promote them on our social media. So you get your first media exposure with me. It's paid media though, right? So it's integrated marketing. And a lot of the shows that I hosted in my career were integrated marketing shows. So I feel like that's just my path in life. Like I was never strictly on the news side of things for long. I did do 2 years of news as a morning reporter at the NPR station in Washington. And when I started in community news, that was strictly news. But everything I did from Richmond to DC to New York, it was always integrated marketing, which means there was a sales component to the story I was telling. And if you do it well, people don't even know they're being sold to.
Okay.
And then they attach to the person and they like the person, and therefore they want to know about you and your book or you and your product or service.
Okay. So why Glowstream?
Why Glowstream?
Why the name? Why the name? I'm sorry. Why the name?
Everything I do, I just want to shed light. I feel like my walk in life, like you can say my profession is journalism or storytelling or communications, but my walk on this planet, I truly believe, is to shed light on subjects.
Okay.
And so that's where the word glow comes from.
Got you. I like it. Shed light on subjects. That is so cool. So what you got coming up?
Well, I'm trying to work on a teen memoir, a coming of age story with a character loosely based on my teenage years. Just growing up, not knowing left from right, like so many young people do, but having a determination that, I'm meant to do something on this planet. A lot of what's guided me in my life, I feel like, is knowing that I felt like I just was here to contribute to the planet in a special way. And it was never anybody like gassing me up, propping me up, telling me like I'm totally not that girl. People, it's quite the opposite. Usually I have people tell me, I don't know, but I feel like I'm special. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I've started the outline of this young adult memoir that begins in kindergarten. Which is one of my earliest memories of like my mother dropping me off at kindergarten and me being like, what is this place? Running out of there to the gate as far as I could get and realizing, oh, she left and I'm stuck here. Okay. That was like my reaction to school. I was like, I don't know what this place is. I don't know if I can do it, but I was fine. You know what I mean? And it ends at high school. And I think like when you're in those awkward teenage years, like you think everything that happens to you is like so embarrassing and the worst thing ever. And the reality is for me, and I hope for many other people out there, is that life gets so much better.
Yeah.
You know, you really come into your own, and you know, in your 20s, you have this newfound freedom. You know,
Right.
in your 30s, you begin to earn a little more money, and you get to be more of who you are because you can
Right.
afford to be more of who you are.
Yeah.
So on and so on, and you start to
Yeah.
think a little more clearly. And I think a lot of people, you know, your teenage years are important because I feel like that's where your light can get dimmed.
Yeah.
If you don't have some type of conviction, some
Right.
strong sense of self. And
Yeah.
so I'm writing this book, and the publishing industry is slow. Like, you know, it takes 1 to 2 years to get a book to market after the manuscript
Yeah.
is finished. So I love working with my publisher. My editor has said, write every day, keep
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
So I'm writing for Glowstream TV in the meantime. I'm writing this memoir, and it's loosely titled after that song, you know, Let the Sun Shine In. I'm not a singer,
Okay.
so I don't want to sing it,
Well, we
but
can't get off until you sing. No, I'm just kidding.
but yeah, it has that light theme
Yeah.
going through it,
I like
because what I dealt with as a teenage girl growing up in LA was a lot of uncertainty. Everybody
Yeah.
around me was different from me.
Yeah.
Like I just watched this Kendrick Lamar concert.
Okay.
I don't know, everybody's talking about it.
I haven't seen
And,
it.
you know, he has that song, Not Like Me. Well, at the end of the concert, like, all these people get up on stage, and it's like all the gangsters from the different warring gangs in LA are on stage, and they're dancing. And I
Right.
remember looking at my husband, I'm like, yeah, like that, they look like my cousins, my
Yeah.
family, everybody I grew up around. And for some reason, I was just this little preppy girl, you know? And I just like, yeah, like I know these people so
Yeah.
well. Like that's my people. Though these are my
Yeah.
people, but I am so different. I do not fit in with
Yeah.
that environment, and I never have. And there's a
Right.
story behind that. And I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Right.
I'm the butterfly that just
Uh,
did not have the same, you know,
Yeah.
pattern as the rest. God bless them all.
Yeah. And I like what you talk about, because as you start chasing, your passion, you will start living in the what you thought was impossible. You start finding yourself in rooms that you never thought you would be in. And so the question becomes, how do you operate in that? And it sounds like that's what that book is going to lead them to.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm blessed to be exposed to so many different people and things. When I was a young reporter in radio, I got to go with the most senior reporter to go interview President Obama back when he was
Wow.
a senator on the campaign trail, because I knew how to use the Twitter. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I was like in my 20s, I knew how to use the Twitter. So
Yeah.
I was going with the guy in his 60s
Hmm.
to take pictures and use the Twitter. And I got to meet Obama that way.
It works
Um,
out.
yeah. And, you know, of course, I met Michelle Obama, like at a workout class in DC, nothing
Yeah.
formal, but, you know, she worked out at the same studio, you know, Soul Cycle that I
Right.
went to that Sunday. And, you know, I've met President Clinton and Hillary Clinton all through work and things like that, but not through family connections, but through working and trying to stay as close to my goals and my career dreams as possible. And when
Yeah.
you get in those rooms, only thing I've done is I've always been myself.
Yeah.
That's the only, of course, you're a little more nervous, a little, you don't know what quite to do, but you
Right.
learn, you look at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I've traveled on a journalism fellowship to Germany, and I remember I was at this fancy dinner, and you just knew there were rules to this dinner. You know what I mean? Like there were rules. And I looked around, and everybody walked around the tables and shook each other's hands and
Uh-huh.
introduced themselves. And so I said, oh, I think I'll do that too. So then I walked around my table and I said, Markette Sheppard, nice to
Yeah.
meet you. Markette Sheppard. And now I do that with after that. That was like before my son was born. This was like 12 years ago. And now every fancy dinner I go to, before I sit down at my place setting, I walk around and shake hands and get to know people. Because I'm like, that's how the, German elite do it. Like, but it's totally like I totally did not grow up that way. It's just me believing I wanted something different than what my environment was offering me.
Yeah, I like it. So what would you say? What would you like to leave the audience with?
I hate to always say the last words on this podcast don't have to be our last words together.
I like it.
You can follow me at Markette Sheppard on all of the socials. My website is markettesheppard.com. And anyone who is listening to this, who is, going on a journey towards doing something different than the family business or what their siblings or parents or cousins have done. I just want you to know that you're not alone. I can relate, and so many other people can relate. That's why we have podcasts like the Momentum Shift, and that's why we have Glowstream TV and all these content creators out there sharing their journeys. So I just want to tell everyone listening that you all have an individual light inside of you. Let your light shine. Don't let anybody dim your light. You may need to go and recharge for a while. Everybody needs to go and recharge the batteries, including myself. But then get back out there and shine your light. And people will be attracted to that individual, emanating glow that comes from you doing what you love to do best, especially if it puts out goodness in the world. Who can argue with that? They would just look silly.
Yeah, people love being around happy people. People who are not happy, who can find something wrong with the sunshine. Nobody wants to be around that all the time.
I hate when people tell me to close my sunroof too. I'm like, sun shining on your face.
Don't hate. So Markette Sheppard, thank you for joining us. You truly are a momentum shifter. I love what you're doing because you are helping so many people through your books, through your Glowstream TV, and I love it. And I think what's more important is when you change your situation, you change those who are directly around you's lives, change life for those who are directly around you. And so your son.
Hey, Momentum Shift podcast and radio show listeners, this is your host, C. Eric Collier, and I've got something for you. I want to share this game-changing streaming service with you. Go to LrodTVNetwork.com. That's LrodTVNetwork.com. It's a minority-owned streaming channel that's got it all. Exclusive talk shows, podcasts, and live streams you won't find anywhere else. And the best part, it's affordable. Just $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year. But as a special thank you to my amazing listeners, use the code SHIFT at sign up to get 25% off until August the 1st, 2024. And now it's only $4.50 for your first month or $45 for your first year. And guess what else they're giving you? They're giving you a 7-day free trial to try it out. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. Head over to LrodTVNetwork.com. That's LrodTVNetwork.com and sign up now. Trust me, your entertainment routine will thank you. Are you still here? Hey, go to LrodTVNetwork.com and get signed up right now.
And your husband are being able to see you walk in your light, and sooner or later they start to follow, right? They start to pick it up. And so I encourage you to continue doing what you're doing, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much, Eric, for having me on your show, and stay blessed.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for the Momentum Shift, a show designed to get you inspired, get you moving so you can get results. Why? Because we want you to live in the impossible. Hey, go back, and listen to this show, because what Markette talked about today is becoming, is about becoming you, your authentic self, and living in the light that you were built to shine. And so go back, listen to it, take notes, and just repeat some things that you've heard in your own life. And so with that, that's it for the Momentum Shift. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Welcome to the Momentum Shift, a show where we get inspired, get moving, and get results. My name is Eric Collier. I'm a veteran of the United States Army and Navy. I'm a 2-time Amazon International bestselling co-author, and I'm an entrepreneur. And I love helping people, and I love coaching people. And I've done that successfully for over 20 years because I really want to see people win. And there is no greater feeling of joy than to witness someone who has just experienced that aha moment go on and change their lives and start doing what they thought was impossible and turning it into what is possible for them. So get ready, because the Momentum Shift is what you've been waiting for.
Thank you for joining The Momentum Shift, a show bringing you interviews and stories of incredible people to help you get inspired, get moving, and get results to ultimately create the life-changing momentum shift that will improve your life. Join host Eric Collier, the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for The Momentum Shift, the show and change you've been looking for.